This up for this topic is the HelloWorld Project from the University of Southern Indiana. And turn it over to you, Dr. Hahn.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen real quick. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Han. I'm working at the University of Southern Indiana as an assistant professor. Today, I want to talk about the HelloWorld Project. Well, I'm going to show you guys a bunch of interesting small projects. But first, you might be wondering, what is the HelloWorld Project? Well, if you have any experience with learning a programming language, then you will know the HelloWorld Project program is the first program that you will write. Basically, this program is going to print a single line. It's going to say Hello World on the computer screen. Now, the HelloWorld Project, it contains a few variations of the Hello World program. And the point of this project is to encourage my students to make a simple project to be very interesting and exciting. All right. I think that's pretty much about the talking. So let's take a look at the demonstration. Let's take a look at the code. Now I'm going to switch to Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the IDE, the integrated development environment for writing programs. It is made by Microsoft. Because I'm using C#, so the Visual Studio, that's going to be #1 choice. All right, I'm not going to bore you guys by going through all the code, but well, let's see. If your task is to print a Hello World string on the screen, it can be very easy. Basically, all you need to do in C# is to put in that line. All right, so let's run the program together and see what we can see on the screen. So I'm going to run the program. It's going to take a few seconds to compile. All right. Well, as promised, the Hello World prints Hello World. So congratulations, that's your first program. But of course, it doesn't have to be this basic. It can be more challenging and it can be more exciting. So in the next version I'm going to show you, it's going to be, well, it's still going to print out Hello World, but this time I'm going to print one character at a time, and the character are printing from left to the right. Now I'm going to change the mode to 1. If I rerun the program, okay, it takes a few seconds to start the program. As you can see, this time, instead of printing everything at the same time, I'm generating one character at a time. And the order is each time I print from the left to the right. And also, you might have noticed that, well, previously I'm using just one color, but this time I'm adding some color. So that's kind of exciting. And also, if I run the program, the same program again, it's probably going to give me a different color, because when I render out the colors for the characters, it's generated randomly. So let's try that one more time. All right, as you can see, now I have a different color for the Hello World. And besides the string, you have also noticed that this time I'm drawing a border. I'm drawing a box, right? Just to make it more interesting. Good. Now, not only you can print from the left to the right, but you can actually print from right to the left. So let's try another version of this program. It's in mode 2. Now, if I run the program again, it's going to show us something else, right? This time, the characters are printed from right to the left, but still one character at a time. At the same time, it's still using that randomly generated color for each character. This is to, it's kind of cool because you have this animation effect, and also behind the scenes, I can actually control the speed of how fast I want to move the characters. Good. Now that's this version. Not only we can print on, on the row, but actually I can drop some character from the top or print some characters from the bottom to the top. Okay, let's see those versions. Okay, I'm gonna change this program to another version, which is in version 3. This guy is actually gonna drop the characters from the top of the screen to the bottom. Okay, now let's run the program. Okay, well, we got lucky this time because the character is actually in the black color, which is the same as my background. That's why you don't see that character. But the second one seems to be working. Okay, so the characters are dropping from the top to the bottom, but they're not going down all the way. As you can see, the characters are actually stacking on top of each other. That's a cool effect. Everything, it doesn't just happen like that. You have to make it so that it looks like this. Okay, now we have the world. It's gonna start to construct the hello. I think we got lucky again. Oh, actually, that's a space. That's why we don't see it. All right. It's gonna drop another L and E and H. And of course, you figure it out. Each time when I render out the color, it's gonna be randomly selected. Okay, so that is how you can drop the characters from the top to the bottom. What about if I want to print characters from the bottom to the top? Of course you can. Let's see. So I'm gonna change this to mod 4. And let's run the program. Okay. I'm shooting characters from the bottom to the top. You see, hello, there's a space and then world. Good. There are a few characters that we don't see because you see, if I highlight the character, you can actually see it because it happens to be in color black. Okay, good. Now let's see what is the next version about. Version 5. As I implement version 4, that is to print characters from the bottom to the top, that kind of reminds me something like a firework. So I make something interesting trying to simulate the fireworks effect. Okay, that's version number 5. Now, if I run the program again, well, you can see from the bottom to the top, each time I shoot one character and then it has a splash effect, right? To simulate the fireworks. Of course, as a developer, as a programmer, you have to be more, you need to have some visions, like you need to, you can see the things in the abstract way. It's not perfect, but I think this is something that you can do and it's quite interesting. Okay, each time I'm shooting a character, it goes higher, and that's all part of the play. Okay, so that is the fireworks effect for the HelloWorld. Let's move on and take a look at another version of the HelloWorld project, mode number 6. Let's see what that guy is. Right, and well, previously I showed you guys I can drop the characters from the top to the bottom. And that kind of reminds me a game that I played before. That is the Tetris game. Let's see how I can implement the HelloWorld version of the Tetris game. Okay, so that's going to be in mode 6. Now, if I run the program, okay, there, I'm going to pause it real quick. You see I'm building the box with all the characters that you can see from the HelloWorld. And from the top, I'm dropping the single characters from the HelloWorld string. The rule is the same as the Tetris game. That is, when two characters are the same characters, I'm going to remove both of them. Okay. All right. I'm going to resume the game by pressing the space key. Okay. First of all, I'm just going to run character W on top of this stack. You see, because W doesn't match L, so both of them stays, right? Good. Now, if I resume, I got an L. Do I have an L? Probably not. So I'm going to just land it somewhere else. H, because the characters are generated randomly, it is hard to say when we can actually run into a character that can, show you the effect of removing the two similar characters. I think we might have a shot this time. Let's see if I can move character E all the way to here. Oops, too late. Well, as I develop this program, there are a lot of bugs. For example, one thing that I noticed was that now if I'm trying to move the characters, it doesn't move fast enough. So you already saw, just now I was trying to move E all the way to the right, but I cannot move it fast enough. All right, let's see this guy. Okay, it's already too late, so I'm gonna just let this guy on top of L. Or let's see if I can find a place to let R. There it is. On this stack, you see? Well, in theory, if this R lands on this R, then both of them should be gone, right? Like I promised, both of them are gone. Good. So this is the Tetris game, but it's the HelloWorld version of the Tetris game. Now let's move on and take a look at the next version, which is version 7. Version 7 is about, right, this time I'm going to also print out the hello world, but I'm going to use every character, any character. For example, let's say I really enjoy the dollar sign. I can use the dollar sign to print the outline of the hello world. All right, now if I run the program, there it is. Well, once again, you have to be, have the eyes of a developer to see that I'm actually printing hello world. Well, I'm printing hello world with the dollar sign, but I can basically use any character that I like. For example, I can use the @ sign. Now, if I run the same program again, it's going to generate the hello world, but this time I'm using the @ sign. There it is, hello world. Cool. Now let's take a look at the next version, version 8. Well, remember when you use the iOS devices, the first time you start the device, you are greeted with hello in different languages. So I'm making a similar program, but this time, instead of saying hello, we're saying hello world in different languages, okay? Now, if I run the program, yeah, many of the languages I do not recognize. That's Japanese, that I do know. But that part isn't very difficult to figure out. Basically, I just use the Google Translator to get all the different languages to say hello world. And also, this is generated randomly, so it's hard to say what language is going to be printed on the screen for the next iteration. All right, so that is the version 8 of the hello world. What is version 9? Let's see. Version 9. Oh, this one is my favorite. Well, I think for the many of you guys might be too young to know the movie, The Matrix. It was in 1999. It has been 20 years. And there's a famous scene in the Matrix movie, that is, you have a bunch of characters dropping on top of from the top of the screen to the bottom. So I'm going to run that effect first. Control F5 to run the program. It would make more sense if you actually watch the movie, but still, I think that's a very cool effect. So I have a bunch of strings dropping from the top to the bottom, but you might be wondering, hey, Dr. Han, how is this even related to the HelloWorld project? Well, that's where you're going to be creative. So the next version I'm going to show you is a modification based on this version, but it actually has something to do with HelloWorld. That is version 10. In version 10, if I run the program again, it's still going to drop all the characters, but this time I'm not dropping any characters. I'm dropping the hello world string. That is related to HelloWorld project, right? Good. And let's see. I might have another version. Right. In version 11, I created a snake game with the hello world string. Okay. Control F5. Right. So I have this string which I can control with my arrow keys. This string is used to represent the snake. If I use my arrow keys, I can control which way it goes. So this is the first step of the snake game. In the second iteration, that is in mode 12, what I can do is I also randomly generate some characters so that the snake can eat the characters. And as the snake eats the characters, the snake grows, you see, just like the snake game. Good. Well, that's pretty much I have for the demonstration. And hopefully I have done a good job to make you excited about writing code, learning computer science. If you're interested, then, or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at this address. And also, I will be teaching CS 258 it's an introduction class in C# in summer 2020 at University of Southern Indiana. And lastly, if you want to contribute to the HelloWorld project, it is online, it is publicly accessible. You can find it with this link here. All right, now I think I can answer a few questions now.
Thank you, Dr. Han. Are you able to see the questions in the chat, or would you like me to read them to you?
Yes, let me check.
Let's see, there's a few.
Right.
A few missed the beginning, I think, so just had a few questions in general what the Hello Project is.
Oh, okay. Yes, the HelloWorld project is really a project to make the students interested about writing code.
Okay.
The second one is coding the same thing as this. Right. I showed you. Well, coding is actually, the actions. When you write code, I would say that's coding. But what I showed you is after you have writing the code, I have created different programs. What is the HelloWorld project used for? It's mainly for inspiring my students and, to find something fun for myself. I do it in my spare time. Okay, a question that I'll be wanting to know, what are some of the coding software you recommend mainly for gaming? Right, for gaming development, it really depends. For example, if you're familiar with C#, then you can use the Unity. It's a 3D engine and you can generate some awesome stuff. So it is just practice for college students. Yes, in a way, correct. Well, if you take the CS 258 C# class with me, we're gonna write a lot of projects like this. Cannot hear me. Okay, sorry. How did I get into code? Like many others, I guess when I was young, I was really interested in playing computer games, and then I start to interested in computer science, and then as a computer science major, you have to write code. That's how I get into code. All right, I think that's all the questions. Oh, there's one more. Okay, a question. I mean, what do you know? I think that was.
Yeah, Sam. Unfortunately, Sammy was disconnected when you answered his question.
Oh, okay.
Question. So if you could please repeat that question.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it really depends. For example, if you are familiar with C#, then I would say the Unity is gonna be the framework to go. You can generate some very awesome 3D games. And for the environment, the software, you can use what I use here, which is Visual Studio. The community version of the Visual Studio is free.
Okay, it looks like that's all the questions we have. Let's see. Oh, have you created a game yet?
Not really, but that's something I would be really interested. And well, we don't have the time today, but actually my students in my senior classes, they have generated some very awesome games, like the kind of like the Hollow Knight game with Unity.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us today.
No problem.
And it doesn't look like we have too many more questions. We'll be starting another live session in 10 minutes. The presenters will be from Ivy Tech if students are able to stay and join us for that. Do you have any other questions or comments, Dr. Han, that you'd like to share with the students? or encouragement?
Oh, yeah, I think, well, I enjoy computer science and I feel like you guys should too, especially you see with coding, you can do so much cool stuff like write your own application, write a game, you know. So, well, you guys are welcome to join us at USI.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you sharing today.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Thank you.
students will be back on in 10 minutes. Thank you.